What was the most successful prank you've ever pulled? Let's get started, shall we? You remember the juicy fruit gum sticks? The ones with the wrapper? I would carefully open the gum and save the wrapper. Then I would carve a piece of soap to look like the gum, rewrap it and give it to my sister. The kicker was that after she first put the gum in her mouth and discovered it was soap, I'd laugh and then offer her a real stick of gum as an apology. That second stick was also soap. She fell for it. That's a lot of dedication to make someone eat soap twice. After seeing the movie Poltergeist, I thought it would be funny to put all the chairs up on the table stacked all weird and then open all the cabinets in the middle of the night. I thought it would be harmless and my parents would get a laugh out of it. Nope. They believed, 1000%, that it was a ghost we had in the house and it didn't even matter that I told them the truth. They choose to believe it was the ghost. I'm not sure why, but I think they really wanted to be haunted or something. I don't know if this counts as a prank, but my dad is a huge fan of the series Scrubs, and there's a gag where a character puts a pancake in the silverware drawer and this exchange happens. Why is there a pancake in the silverware drawer? You mean why is there silverware in the pancake drawer? So, just for laughs, I made pancakes and put one in our silverware drawer, waiting idly by in the kitchen for him to need a fork or something. I watch all giddy as he, confused, takes the pancake out and asks what's a pancake doing in the silverware drawer without missing a beat. I say, you mean what is silverware doing in the pancake drawer? I didn't think it would actually work. He got a real kick out of that. A successful but unsuccessful one. I saw a friend walking ahead of me, so did the old tap on the shoulder but run past on the other side maneuver. However, while concentrating on him I didn't see the park bench, ran into it at full speed, and collapsed behind it. Through the gaps in the seat I could see my friend looking left and right, almost freaking out, wondering who had tapped him in the shoulder. The tears from the pain in my leg kept me from laughing and giving myself away for about 20 seconds. Task failed successfully. Cooking at school. Different parts of the menu were prepared by different people. The girl tasked with the fruit salad was halving grapes when I passed her, so I commented that she wasn't peeling them. Were we supposed to do that? Of course. Didn't you listen? Asked the teacher a long time later. I had already forgotten the matter, not expecting to be taken seriously. I heard our teacher yell at her, "What are you doing?" Poor girl was almost done peeling a pound of grapes. One summer when my cousin was staying with us, he and I had a small prank war going on against one another. We decided to put our talents together and try to prank everyone else. We put small piles of flour on each blade of the ceiling fan in the living room, just enough to not be seen from the ground. A few weeks went by and nothing happened and we had forgotten about it. And then, the day finally came. My mom had company over. I was in the kitchen and I heard all kinds of shouting, screaming coming from the living room. My cousin ran up to me grinning and said, "It's happening." The living room looked like it had just snowed inside. Everything was coated in a dusting of flour. My mother was screaming. Her guests were staring in confusion and the dogs were running around in circles. It was so amazing, until we had to clean it all up. 1998. I was in 4th grade and got my hands on a universal remote watch. At the time it was super high tech and nobody had heard of such a thing. I would sneakily turn the classroom TV on every 5 minutes. The teacher, who I despised, was convinced that ghosts were in the room. She unplugged it after the 3rd or 4th time. We told our tech illiterate teacher to hold the power cord higher so the energy would flow better. She complied. This was in about 5th grade. I was sitting by the door and saw that a kid sitting by the window was copying all my movements. I made sure he actually was by making some weird movements and sure enough he was. Then I noticed that behind his head, close to his shoulder, was an open window. I got the idea and swung my head as hard and violently as I could to the side. Of course he did the same also with a lot of speed and slammed his head into the window super hard. He whimpered and went home early because he had a headache. I felt pretty bad but now every time I remember it puts a grin on my face. Sorry Tom. Edit. For those of you wondering, swang is an actual word. I wanted to put swung there but I liked swang more. My college roommate ate cereal really slow, usually only when he was drunk, and would typically take a while to get through an entire box. Every time he ate a bowl, I would refill the box to try and always keep it halfway. This went on for months, and I probably poured 10 entire boxes into the one. Finally, one night, he came home drunk and went to get a bowl of cereal. I hear from my room, "How much is in you?" I run out of my room only to see him pour the entire contents onto the table and stare, completely dumbfounded, at the amount that was left over after eating from it the entire semester. He was speechlessly gesturing to the table, looking up at me in confusion. I played it off so damn cool. It's been like 6 years and I still haven't told him it was me. One of his favorite college stories is about the magical box of cereal that contained an infinite amount until he broke it by dumping it out. When I was 13, I told my mom my alarm stopped working and asked her to wake me up in the morning. So I stayed up until she went to bed and snuck downstairs. I took a jar of Vaseline and put the Vaseline on my doorknob and went to sleep. The next morning my mom woke me up by screaming, "What the FWHO does something like that?" In the army the duties rotated. When it was my turn to clean the toilets, I had prepared some chocolate pudding. I scrubbed the toilet seats exceptionally clean, then left a thin but clearly visible brown line of the pudding on one of the seats. During inspection the lieutenant saw it and yelled for the person responsible for the bathroom that day. I raised my hand and followed him into the stall with the dirty seat. "What's this?" he said. I dipped my finger in the pudding, smelled it, then slowly licked my finger as if I was tasting it, and said, "It's poo, but I don't know whose." This is where I usually stop when I tell this story. The lieutenant was a hilarious guy. After a few intense seconds he cracked up and started laughing, then simply told me to clean it in case his commanding officer would drop by. I had heard about this prank somewhere before, but I can't remember from where, but at least I did it myself. So I went to a Catholic high school. I had a work-study volunteer job in the office to help with tuition. Part of this job involved printing letters and stuffing envelopes to parents and alumni. Fast forward to spring break time senior year. I get my hands on some of the stationery and envelopes and type up a letter to parents informing them that after careful consideration, the school has decided to place the health of its students above the arcane regulations against the use of condoms. Thus the school was going to be providing protection at the junior and senior proms. I typed this up at home and hit a kinkus but only had enough for about half the senior class to get a letter. So I just mail merged every other student, stuffed the letters, and dropped them in the outgoing mail basket my next shift. Skip forward 3 days and shit hits the fan. Lots of kids are talking about this. The school is inundated with half super pissed conservative Catholic parents and half backpatters saying it's about time. The school sends out a letter to all parents telling them to disregard the previous communication and that the letter was not an official communication. Skip forward another 3 days and even more parents start calling and writing asking what the school is talking about. They never got a letter. So, in a final letter, the school gets a copy of the original letter and includes it in a mailing to the entire student body with a second letter explaining that this wasn't official and that they will not be providing condoms at the dance. Y'all are the first people I've ever told. My friends and I rearranged my college roommate's room and covered absolutely everything in tinfoil. He was just getting back from a trip and rolled in with his suitcase. He is overly dramatic and thus a great victim. We were watching TV when he goes to his room and I hear, "Oh my god." He huffs out and says the most dad comment ever. "Why would you do this? If this isn't cleaned up by the time I get back from work." He goes to work. We tinfoiled his suitcase. This is more serious now than it was a prank before. When me and my 3 other brothers were young, we hid from our dad when he came home from work. We never responded to him calling our names, nor made a peep. We thought we were the perfect little ninjas. Well, he decided to go to the neighbor's house to see if we were over there. But when he finds out we weren't, he calls my mother in distress saying we were all gone and nowhere to be found. My mom comes home crying and they're getting ready to call the police when we pop out from our hiding spots. They were not happy, lol. We all got the belt that day. I work at a wastewater treatment plant. We employ cameras to monitor things in the field that we need eyes on at all times. One of these cameras is pointed at the bed of a tractor trailer that is used to haul biosolids to the landfill. The video feed is a constant stream of dewatered sludge falling into the trailer. When one section is full, An operator has to go move the trailer so the solids don't spill out all over the place and make a mess. One year for April Fools I used the old Control Alt up arrow to turn the camera feed upside down like 10 minutes before my shift was over. The person taking over for me was much older and much less tech savvy. When he noticed the sludge falling up instead of down, he lost his mind. The next day I got scolded by my boss because my co-worker had a panic attack and then contacted the after hours emergency tech support line to fix the cameras. Fun police strike again. Told my sister that orange soda tastes better the more you shake it before opening. It was the week before Valentine's Day and I was a senior in high school and my sister was a freshman at the same school. The school was doing a fundraiser where for just $2, you could get these 3 guys from the choir to come to anyone during class and give them a singing telegram. I thought it would be funny to mess with my sister, so I bought her a telegram as a joke. The only aspects of delivery I had control of was to who it's delivered to and who it was from, which I just put my name for that part. Remember that. On the day telegrams were delivered, the singers arrived in one of her AP, advanced placement, classes and they had a test that day. They sung their song and she was so embarrassed. Here's where it gets good. She pulls out her computer, everyone had a lone computer from the school, opens Hangouts, and messages one of her friends about what just happened. Part of her message was something along the lines of "I'm so embarrassed, I just want to die," and for the record, she wasn't serious about that, it's just how she put it. Welp, that message got digitally flagged by the school's computers and she was sent to the assistant principal's office for a welfare check just because of that. Our mom got called during this and she explained the whole situation because she knew what I was up to and my sister returned to class. And yet she still blames that last part on me. I will never forget when I passed her in the hall immediately after and she just yelled, "I hate you so much." It was too funny. And that's the story of the best $2 I have ever spent.